Let's ask another question. What's the name of the third person to fly the Atlantic Ocean solo? You're probably thinking, if I didn't know the name of the second, how am I going to know the name of the third? But of course you do, because the third person was Amelia Earhart. Oh, now, is Amelia known as the third person to fly the Atlantic Ocean solo? No. She's known as the first woman to do it. Now you know one of the most important laws of marketing. If you can't be first, then you set up a new category you can be first in. Let's talk about a few examples of how you set up a new category. Take beer, for example. Heineken's was the first high-priced imported beer. They were first in the category. So what did the people at Anheuser-Busch do? They set up the first high-priced domestic beer, a brand called Michelob. And today Michelob outsells Heineken's 2-to-1 in the United States. The first light beer in America was Miller Lite. And so what is the leading light beer? It's Miller Lite. Now, it took an importer 5 years to say, hey, if there's a market for a domestic light beer, maybe there's a market for an imported light beer. And they introduced Amstel Light, the first imported light beer, and of course it's the #1 brand of imported light beer. Now, not just beer and cola, but think about computers. The first computer was IBM. And 7 major American companies went head-to-head with IBM trying to make a better computer. Most of them lost hundreds of millions of dollars. One company, the Digital Equipment Corporation, thought like Amelia Earhart. They introduced the first mini computer, and Digital became a $14 billion company, the second largest computer company in the world. And then a company called Tandem invented the fault-tolerant computer, and Tandem became a $2 billion company. And then a company called Stratus invented the fault-tolerant mini computer, and Stratus became a $500 million company. And then, of course, there's Cray. Cray introduced the first supercomputer. And Cray became a $1 billion company. Now, think about this. Cray could have said, we have a more powerful mainframe. But if they did that, people would have thought, well, IBM makes mainframes. They're going to make a more powerful mainframe any day now. I'll wait for IBM. It's very important to set up the category supercomputer. And then a company called Convex introduced the mini supercomputer. Hey, this is a company that was bought last year by Hewlett-Packard for $150 million. The principles or laws of marketing are very, very simple. Not always easy to execute in practice, but they're very simple. Now, when you set up a category, it doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, take Budget. Budget was the first low-cost car rental company, and Budget became the 4th largest car rental company. And hey, there's opportunities at high-end, high-priced products. For example, Häagen-Dazs was the first premium or gourmet ice cream, became a very powerful, successful brand. And then there's Orville Redenbacher, the first gourmet popcorn, became the leading brand. And of course, Grey Poupon, the first gourmet mustard, has 50% of the Dijon mustard business. And then there's Mentadent, the first baking soda peroxide toothpaste, became the 3rd largest selling brand. And a product called Soft Soap, which was the first liquid hand soap, became the leading brand in the category. And then there was a soft drink called Snapple. Snapple was the first natural beverage. What's a natural beverage? I don't know. But this is a company that was bought by Quaker Oats for $1.7 billion. There are enormous opportunities in marketing today, but not by being better. You have to look for ways to set up a new category you can be first in. And the categories are only limited by your imagination. It could be price, it could be size, it could be almost anything. But it's far more important to set up a new category than to try to convince the public you have a better product than the leading brand. That's almost impossible.